In this video, I'm going to tell you about all the things that ended up not working on this engine and needing to be replaced. I'll also give some advice on what to do before buying a restoration project like this. Stick around. Okay, so based upon what the guy I bought the boat from told me in a video that I watched of this engine running at some point, I was anticipating the boat would have a working engine. It would run just fine. Was hoping to have this boat done before the fall. Wanted to sell it really quickly with a crazy post-COVID boat market. Because my real work starts up in the fall. I get too busy to work on projects like these. And I'm not a true mechanic, so I had to figure out a plan. Luckily for me, there's a boat mechanic about 20 minutes from me that the guy literally used to build early 90s Nautique engines. And this is in central Indiana, of all places. So this is Brad. The dude's pretty awesome. And I assumed that the starter was bad, which was correct. Left the boat with him for the winter to make sure that it was running well. For the springtime, could put it into storage. So the thing with like a really old engine that's all mechanical like this is you have to fix one bad part in order to figure out what else needs to be fixed. And in this case, it ended up being a lot of things. It was already on the to-do list, so we went ahead and replaced the spark plugs, the wires, new distributor. Brad took one look at that deteriorating battery cable that I had tried to work on and decided that needed to be replaced while he was putting a new starter in the boat. Problem is you can't do anything or see anything unless you can start cranking that engine. So once that was in, the engine still didn't crank because the flywheel's teeth were so worn down, they were almost non-existent, that the engine needed a whole new flywheel. And this of course means pulling out and disassembling the entire engine. Guys, I wish I had a picture of the old flywheel. I've lost it, but it was pretty bad. Anyway, once that was in and the boat could actually be cranked and started, it wouldn't run properly because of the fuel pump. So a new fuel pump was installed. Brad also put a new ignition into the boat, but finally he had it running, said it sounded great. The nice thing about the actual engine of the old 351 Windsor is that it seems to last forever in terms of the cylinders and the actual engine itself. He said the valves had great pressure. They were tested, so once all of these needed parts were replaced, we assumed it would run great. So after a winter in storage and all of this work, the engine was running. He loved the way it sounded. I finally had it back in the spring. Couldn't wait to hear it. Brad says this thing runs like a charm, but this is my first time firing it up and seeing what she sounds like. Let's see if it starts up. Brad? Where's Brad? Sounds coming from back in there. It's just a click and nothing. Alright, so the solenoid went bad between his garage and my driveway. So he came back out and put a new solenoid on there. And once that was replaced, we were finally ready to put the boat in the water and see what she can do. Alright, here we are at the marina. We got the lovely wife here, the tough boy, the newly finished with just about every new part you can imagine engine, and we are going to fire it up for the first time and see what she sounds like. Oh, beautiful sound.
Found an amazing mechanic. Lucky to have him. We're not done yet. In our Make Ski Boats Great Again fashion, we're going to be test driving with a lawn chair.
Okay, so the first test run got caught way short, about a minute or two out. A pop-up thunderstorm came out of nowhere, driving us back to the marina. And even more concerning than that was water that was coming into the boat from the most unusual place I cannot figure out for the life of me. It looks like there has to be some sort of a hole in the bottom of the boat for water to come in where it's coming in right here. So we're going to pull the boat out and we're going to inspect it and see if we can figure it out. And no luck, I don't see anywhere where water could be getting into this boat. My only thought is maybe it's coming in through the lag screws. Where the platform's attached, it wasn't sealed properly, and that water is somehow running all the way up through that floor. We're going to put it back in as soon as the weather clears and give it another test run and see if we can't figure out what's going on. All right, so tonight might have been the worst night in the history of Make Ski Boats Great Again. Yeah, this boat, it's taken on water, and I can't figure out for the life of me how water's getting into this boat. I had it tied up at the dock. I went down to just check and see, do I need to run the bilge? How fast is this water coming in? And yeah, it's it's like up to the carpet. This is like emergency time. I get a buddy. I said, get the trailer to the boat launch. I get in this boat. I get about 300 yards in this boat, and all of a sudden, boom, like nothing. I don't know if something happened to the transmission. It dropped the prop out of it. What? But that transmission's spinning around, shooting water everywhere, and this boat's not going anywhere. Nice family comes by in their $200,000 boat. They offer to pull me in. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Throw me a rope, and this guy proceeds to wrap that rope around his inboard prop like 100 times. So now I'm sitting in a boat that doesn't run, that's taking on water, that can't go anywhere, and this guy's diving under his boat. His kids are screaming and crying, I gotta go to the bathroom, I want to go home. I've ruined this family's entire night. This Good Samaritan is in the cold, underwater, in the dark. My boat, which I'm not even sure I put insurance on, is about to be at the bottom of the lake. I mean, it was pretty much the worst 45 minutes of my life. No knife. Eventually he does get that rope off. He does get me pulled back to the marina. I get that boat out just in time. Why is it taking on water? I have no idea, but tonight was just awful. Just work, boat. Just get fixed. Okay, well, it turns out that the prop shaft just came loose from the coupling attached to the transmission. I'm not terribly worried about this because there's nothing that's damaged. This hopefully is just 35 plus years of something coming loose. Vivian, what do you think of the prop here? Does that look like it's in the right spot?
No.
No? Yeah, it's not. And I was able to figure out where this water's coming from because the weird cut that's in the bottom of this boat is sitting exactly on the runner. And when it was there before and the second time I put it on the trailer, it was covered. But by the third time, it was just an inch enough to the left that I was able to say, oh, there's that hole. So jacked up here, you can see a very bizarre cut in this boat, and that's really about 1 millimeter wide, large enough to let water come into that boat. Luckily, the repair on this is not going to be terribly hard because it doesn't need a complete fiberglass patch to it. I can actually get it done in a different way that I'll be showing you. All right, so to recap, I'm not even sure what kind of advice to give because if you're buying a restoration project like the last 2 boats I've done, they did not come with batteries. I had no way to actually run them, picking them up from great distances. The 92 that I bought was amazing. The engine had nothing wrong with it. It ran beautifully. This one, not at all. Brad and I are very convinced that this boat has not run for a long time. Regarding that cut on the bottom of the boat, I'm guessing that was pretty much the last time it ran. The only thing I can figure that would make sense is that this boat had been on a lift. A bracket had come loose on that lift, so when they went to lift the boat up, there was literally like just a piece of metal bracket that went and punctured that because that cut is so thin and severe That's the only thing that would make sense. And I'm guessing that that's when the owner just said, okay, we're done with this boat, instead of fixing that piece. So if you're not subscribed, I hope you do. Click like if you are learning stuff about boats by watching this. In the next video, I'm going to be patching that hole in the bottom of the boat. I'm going to be doing some work on that shaft, engine alignment to the shaft, probably restuff that stuffing box. So plenty of new things that you can learn if you keep watching this channel. Or if anything, just kind of see how this boat's coming along, because it's turning into quite a project. And it's looking less and less like it's been worth it at this point.